The recruiting trail is staying hot for the Bison football team. In the past 10 days alone, North Dakota State has seen a surge of commitments from the class of 2025, and that hasn't slowed down heading into this week. Two more players announcing their intent to play for the Bison today. We'll start with the commitment that head coach Tim Polasek was fired up for on social media, adding another player from Iowa. Ethan Wood, a 6'4", 230-pound defensive end from the Hawkeye State, made his announcement this afternoon. Wood was an all-state selection last season and had his district's D Lineman of the Year award as well. Staying on the defensive side of the ball as we head south a little bit, defensive back Mikhail Ford also announcing his commitment today. He reportedly had offers from 4 other Missouri Valley football teams. That brings the number of commitments over the past 10 days to an unbelievable 13. We caught up with head coach Tim Polasek when this surge first started about their efforts on the recruiting trail and the big push during these summer months.
We've been running. We've been running hard. I think that, I was on the road for 29 of 39 days or something like that. I think getting these kids on campus multiple times, getting them here when the weather is going to be hopefully really good is exciting. The bottom line is June is the new December, from the years past.
Here's a full look at the North Dakota State commits just since June 14th. Not to be lost in the shuffle here is their second quarterback of the class, Preston Brown, out of Missouri. In total, the Bison have already received commitments from 18 players from the class of 2025.